Ever wish you could just say a magic phrase and boom, your mind goes quiet and you're ready for bed?
Right.
Well, we're diving into something today that might just be the next best thing.
Oh.
Nighttime affirmations.
Ah. Okay.
No, I know. I know. Before you click away thinking this is a little too, out there for you,
Yeah.
this deep dive comes straight from a popular podcast,
Hmm.
and it's all about practical sleep tips.
Huh. Interesting. Because, a lot of people who take their sleep seriously are finding some real benefits in affirmations.
Right.
Like it's almost like you're prepping your mind for sleep the same way you would your body.
Oh, I love that comparison.
Yeah.
Like I would never eat a huge meal right before bed and then expect to just fall asleep peacefully.
Right. No, of course not.
But we do that with our minds all the time.
Exactly. And it's interesting how this ties back into a lot of those mindfulness practices,
Yeah.
like meditation.
Mm.
Think about when you're focusing on your breath and you're really in that present moment, how much calmer your thoughts are. Affirmations sort of work in a similar way where you're intentionally replacing those worries with these positive statements.
So you're really, it sounds like we're talking about more than just thinking happy thoughts here.
Oh, for sure.
Like there's an actual connection between having a calmer mind and getting better sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the sleep podcast we're diving into today mentioned that there have even been studies linking a positive mindset to improved sleep quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the science behind that?
Well, a lot of it has to do with our hormones. When we engage in that positive self-talk, it actually lowers our cortisol levels.
Okay.
Cortisol is that stress hormone.
Right.
And so high cortisol is a huge culprit in sleep disruption because it can actually block the production of other hormones that regulate our sleep.
Wow.
So by reducing that cortisol, we're really creating a much better hormonal environment for good sleep.
Okay. That makes sense. Because I know, like, when I'm lying in bed and I'm stressed, thinking about everything I have to do tomorrow or, whatever it is, I just toss and turn all night.
Right.
So how do these affirmations actually work to kind of, counter that?
Well, it's really all about intentional thinking. So you're consciously shifting those thoughts. And the podcast actually gives a few affirmations that they recommend, and they're surprisingly simple.
Okay, let's hear them. I'm ready to test this out tonight. What's the first one?
All right, so the first one is, I am calm, relaxed, and ready for deep sleep.
Okay.
Seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
But there's actually a really fascinating psychological mechanism at play there.
Oh? I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So it's the power of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, okay.
By repeatedly telling ourselves that we are calm and relaxed, our brains actually start to believe it, which then, can induce a state of relaxation that's actually conducive to sleep.
So we're essentially like tricking our brains into feeling calmer.
In a way, yeah. And
Yeah.
they actually give a few variations on this one, too. You could also try, I am safe and secure, drifting off to sleep, if that feels a little more natural for you.
I like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so kind of personalize it a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the next affirmation they suggest?
The next one focuses on letting go. So this one is, I release all the stress from today and welcome peaceful, positive energy.
This one, it reminds me of like those physical relaxation techniques
Oh, yeah.
where you do like you tense and release different muscle groups. It feels like this is kind of the mental version of that.
You're totally right. It's about consciously acknowledging those anxieties from the day and then actively mentally letting them go.
Yeah, yeah.
And they emphasize this isn't about denying that the stress exists.
Yes.
It's about just creating that mental space for sleep that's free from the weight of it.
Yeah, like you're closing all the mental tabs that you've had open all day.
Exactly.
Okay, I need to write this one down.
Yeah.
All right, so that was 2. What's the last affirmation they talk about?
Okay, so this last one is really helpful for those listeners who are always planning their next move. It's, tomorrow will bring new opportunities and joy, but tonight I rest.
I can see how that would be huge for people who lay there and just stress about their to-do list for the next day.
Right.
Like it's setting that mental boundary.
Yes, exactly. It's a gentle reminder that sleep is not for problem solving. It's not for planning.
Right.
It's dedicated time for our minds and our bodies to recharge.
It is.
And what's interesting is the podcast doesn't just stop at the affirmations themselves.
There's more. Tell me everything.
They actually recommend pairing these with deep breathing.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about, like, if we're going to do this, let's combine techniques, maximum impact, right?
Right.
So it's like a 1-2 punch for relaxation,
Yeah.
telling our minds and our bodies to chill out.
Exactly. So that deep breathing, activates our parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
That's our body's kind of like built-in relaxation system.
Right.
It slows the heart rate, eases muscle tension,
Yep.
really primes us for sleep.
So it's not just about calming the anxious thoughts. It's like we're actually triggering a physical response in our bodies too,
Exactly.
which I love. Like, I love how these like kind of simple practices have like real science behind them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, have you ever noticed how like a good night's sleep just kind of sets you up for a more positive day?
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's like, it's not a coincidence.
And that's where the long-term benefits of these affirmations really come into play.
Okay.
You know, the podcast was highlighting how incorporating these positive statements into our nightly routine can actually have lasting effects on our mood and our overall outlook.
So we're talking about more than just a quick fix here. We could
Right.
be like rewiring our brains towards more positivity.
Yeah, you gotta, it all comes down to neuroplasticity,
Okay.
which essentially just means that our brains are constantly adapting
Right.
based on our experiences and our thoughts. And
Mhm.
so by repeatedly engaging in this positive self-talk, especially before bed when our subconscious is more receptive,
Right.
we're actually strengthening those neural pathways
Wow.
that are associated with positive emotions.
So it's like we're creating a positive feedback loop almost, where
Exactly.
it's like, okay, better sleep equals better mood, which then makes it easier to engage in the positive self-talk, which leads to even better sleep. It's like a virtuous cycle for our minds.
Precisely. Yeah, and that's just one area of our lives. You know, they had a listener write in who was saying how using affirmations before bed actually helped her feel more confident speaking up at work.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty powerful, I don't know, like testament to the fact that these small shifts in our thinking can have like ripple effects into other areas of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I want to try this. So like for someone like me who's, you know, new to affirmations, any tips? So many people talk about wanting to be more positive,
Yeah.
you know, but this actually feels like something actionable.
It really is. It's just about being intentional and consistent. Like one of the tips that the podcast gave was to think about what you're actually trying to cultivate in your life.
Okay.
Is it better sleep? Is it less stress? Is it more confidence?
Right.
And then really tailor the affirmations to those goals.
So like if you're dealing with self-doubt, could you say something like, I am capable?
Exactly. Yeah, like I am capable and deserving of good things.
Oh, I love that. Like you're giving your subconscious mind a pep talk before bed.
That's a great way to put it. And, you know, it might feel a little awkward at first. You
Yeah.
might even feel a little silly doing it, but like the more consistently you practice it, the more natural it becomes.
Right. Like, yeah, like anything else that we practice, the more we do it, the better we get at it.
Exactly.
This has been so eye-opening, honestly. I'm surprised by how much I learned about something that seems as simple as like nighttime affirmations.
Yeah, and that's what we love to do here at the Deep Dive. Uncover those little hidden gems of knowledge and make them accessible for everybody.
Yes, exactly. And to our amazing listeners, we want to hear from you. Have you tried nighttime affirmations?